I've got to be honest with all you guys. I haven't played a PlayStation Vita game, or at least one that I really enjoyed, since Tearaway, which was released in 2013. So that's pretty much an entire year that I went without much use out of my PlayStation Vita. Well, all of that changed with Freedom Wars. The game is bloody fantastic. One aspect that I really loved with this game is the game's world, or the theme, or whatever you want to call it. I really loved how you play as a character who basically has amnesia and is considered useless to society, and because of that, you're charged with 1,000,000 years imprisonment, and the only way to get out of this situation is by quote-unquote volunteering to do military missions. I find it absolutely hysterical. And they keep referring to you as a sinner because you're essentially useless, you contribute nothing to society. I find that absolute gold. So the overall objective is essentially to reduce your sentence to 0 so that you become a free citizen. However, doing that is far easier said than done. So what happens at the beginning of the game is that you're basically locked in a cell, and doing anything will extend your sentence. And when I say anything, I'm talking about things like pacing more than 5 steps in your cell, lying down on your bed to sleep, things like that. But as you complete missions, not only will you lower your sentence, but you'll also be able to purchase entitlements, which make your stay a lot more manageable. Something else that I really digged with the game is the Panopticon, at least that's how I think it's pronounced, system, which allows you to select one of 50 different cities that exist in the world, and what you're doing is competing against other cities. So for example, I picked Los Angeles because Montreal wasn't in the game, and I just thought, oh, that'd be cool. And everything I do in the game sort of acts like leaderboards, so I can raise my city's level, which grants me a whole bunch of goodies in game. And I thought that was really cool because, again, it ties perfectly into this world where these group of sinners, quote unquote again, are trying to get their freedom, but also they're competing against other cities in the world. It's a really unique take on more traditional multiplayer fare. If we zero in on the gameplay itself, something I really enjoyed were all the different weapons. You see, this game is very similar to the Monster Hunter series in a couple of ways, one being the weapons. So every weapon feels completely unique, and you're offered the freedom to decide what and how you want to play the game. So what do I mean by what you play the game? That's not even English. Well, what I mean by that is essentially you can tackle every mission however you see fit. If you are supposed to take down, say, an abductor, which is this giant mech-like creature that captures citizens, if you're supposed to take that guy down, rescue the citizen by holding them and running to an escape pod, essentially, you're completely free to do that however you see fit. So you can go the route of, say, using something like a sniper rifle. So you could go far away and use projectile attacks, or you can get up close and personal using the melee combat system, which works great. And there's just a wide assortment of weapons. There's a fantastic upgrade system where you get tons and tons of resources, again, a la Monster Hunter, and then you can use those resources to build new weapons, to augment your current weapons, and so on and so forth. There's also a really cool grappling beam called a thorn And there's 3 different types of these. There's a healing one, there's one that sets up barricades, and then one that works, just like I said, a grappling beam, where you can go and take down abductors. And that's the main crux of the gameplay. Everything is broken down into sort of a hub world, and that's where your jail cell is. And once you finally get the entitlement to walk around, you'll meet new characters, there's a bar area, etc., etc. And you will be able to take on a wide variety of different missions. There's some stealth ones, there's almost like team deathmatch, and it's funny because there's a lot of missions that mix the traditional multiplayer modes in other games into the story mode of this game. So how does that work? Well, let's say you were going to have capture the flag in a typical multiplayer game. Here, instead of it being a flag, it's going to be an actual citizen. So you're going to want to run to that citizen, grab them, and return them to your quote-unquote base as quickly as possible. And for all of these different missions, you have the choice of using either the artificial intelligence or real-life players. And obviously, that's the way you're going to want to go, but both are super fun. There's really nothing like using the grappling beam with a bunch of real-life players, because you can actually attach yourself to any surface. So you can run alongside buildings, you can zip up vertically to crazy heights, and just go nuts. You can have one player pull down one of the abductors while you do a tremendous sort of jump attack off the roof of a building. The possibilities here are just endless, and they're awesome. I suppose I should also mention that the gameplay you're seeing here was all captured using the PlayStation TV, and it looks amazing. There's also fantastic Japanese voice acting, and the presentation overall is just superb. Now, there are a couple elements that didn't sit too well with me, including the story. I thought there was so much potential, but I just found it interrupted the action. It wasn't great. And the camera lock-on mechanism, or mechanic, it's alright as well. It's not great, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. But when you do get used to it, I still find that sometimes as you're locked onto an enemy, the camera will just go woo crazy all over the place, as you can probably see in some of the video footage you're seeing here. Now, I'm going to wrap this up by saying this is one of the highest selling new IPs on the PlayStation Vita, at least in Japan. In North America and Europe, I'm not sure how the game is progressing, but I will say this. If you have a PlayStation Vita and you haven't used it in a long time like me, I highly recommend you go and check this game out. It might just surprise you. For the full written review, which truly does go into a lot more information about the core gameplay, I highly recommend you go check out projectcoe.com.
あなたは確かまさか助けに来てくれたなんてありがとう。